Good day guys, just a quick little update on the super capacitor as a jumper pack with all the accessories that we've made available. So the goods, or the kits that people have ordered or pre-ordered will be due in at the end of this month. So but this is my kit which I've actually got in and I've managed just to have time to put it together. So here we go. So the voltmeter, it's there, it's 4.44 volts. Turn it off, turn it on. And I'm not using the balancing board. I've just, this is my mucking around. I've got the original balancing board with on and off, two switches that controls all 6 channels of the board. So that's off and that's on. As you can see, it's gone down. But I saw this bit of wire. I think this is off a smaller solar panel as a leg. So I managed to put it in on that corner to this corner. And in the meantime, it's quite nice. Otherwise, you can't hold it with one hand. It's quite hard. But I'm just putting it down now on this side. So just give you a quick look again. So we've got the, that's the actual 175 amp Anderson plug with the boot to protect the terminals. Very, very nice. These are included. Then moving across here, I've got my switch. Turn off, turn on. And of course, you just got to cut yourself a hole to embed from underneath the voltmeter. And the voltmeter will only start to work at 4 volts. Below 4 volts, you won't get a reading. And putting it down this negative side. Let's put it down this way. Let's have a look at this. Now, this is the DC-DC unit. Now, what I've done is I've used some Selly's metal epoxy. You can use JB Weld or the likes, and that was, I thought this was the straightforward, most easiest way to attach on here. I think if you use sticker flex, you should be all right as well, provided you let it cure properly. But I had this lying around and kneaded it together, 2-part chemical reaction, put it on there, and I basically just stood on it and then let it sit for about half an hour, 45 minutes, and then she's good. Look at that. I can lift it up like that, lifting it from using the epoxy putty. So this is the DC-DC. My input is here. I explained to you 2 left cables input, 2 right cables output. So if I stand it back up on the edge, now I put a little zip tie here just to hold this and keep it away instead of flopping around. There we go. That's it. So this is my input. So what I want to do now is I've got this lead battery here. Okay, it's sitting around 11.8 or 12 volts or so. It's my carbon pile used just to discharge and for testing. So I'm going to get my these are my harness. Now, this is something that I've been testing, and I'm going to make this available. This isn't available yet, but I'm going to make this available soon. And we've used some MOSFETs, 4 or 5 in here, and using them as diodes. Okay, you can use MOSFETs as diodes so that we don't reverse connect, because on the input of the DC-DC, right, you're spending good money on this nice piece of tech here. With DC-DC charger, 15 amps. If you wire up the input wrongly, as in reverse polarity, you burn it. It's not going to smoke, it's just going to go dead and not going to work. So that'll be a big shame if you bought it, installed it, and then you accidentally. And because it is on an alligator clip, remember this is a charging system, so it's going to be manually clipped on to a battery source from 9 volts to 35 volts. And being manual, yes, you can have a plug here, but at the end of the plug, it's still a manual. You physically got to attach it, and with that, mistakes happen because we are still human, as far as I last checked. So that's one end of the plug. So if I were to put this on the ground, just to show you, it's not cluttered. I've got this cable is 25 amp. I think it's 12 gauge from JCar. You can pick them up. So 2 meters to me was a nice length to work with, and you can call it up and pack it up. And we're going to supply these. And then we might even supply this, or we might not. You can pick this up from JCar as well. It's EC5 connector. So anyway, EC5 connector and the cable can be picked up from JCar. But this is the customized things that we have done. And generally speaking, you probably find this on jump starting kits. But the jump starting kits can't be used because they've got it the other way around, allowing current not to backflow. So for our purpose, it's actually upside down or reverse. So generally speaking, a standard jump starter with a MOSFET, the alligator clip would be on this end, the header of the MOSFETs, and then the actual tailing, the lead would be actually on the pins or the legs of the MOSFETs. But for our particular use, the direction of current needs to be this way. We need to protect from here, power source, this way. So this is the power source. This is the load, as to say, which is the DC-DC. So we need to actually get this socked around. If not, it's not going to work. It's going to protect, so it's useless. So this was a bit of a customization that we had to organize for you guys. So that is that. Let me plug it in. So the beautiful thing is I don't have to have a multimeter because we have a press of a button, Bob's your uncle. So here we go. And remember what I said, I was going to plug it in. There you go. As you can see, plug it in now. One hand, 2 hand. Let me just put this one down. There we go. She's plugged in. As you can see, very nicely. And there's no power. You can touch this. You can connect it to metal. Nothing's going to happen. Okay, that's a metal. No, shorting at the end. There's no power. And here's my battery here. See, this is positive and that's negative, correct? Remember what I said? You reverse the polarity on the input of this DC-DC. She's dead, she's toast. So let's do it on purpose. So I've got, there we go, positive on the negative. See that? Okay, and then negative, which is black, on the positive. See that? Nothing happens. Nothing happens. Nothing's happening. No noise, nothing. If this was without this little gadget here, guess what? This will be gone. But now, put it on the right way around. Look at the voltage. It's 4.56. Connect up. There was a bit of a spark because it's working. Can you see that? So it's a 15 amp charge coming through the DC-DC. Don't have my clamp meter, but I can get my clamp meter and show you. I'm back. It's charged to 5.6 volts, and here we go, my amp meter. Let's clamp it on. This is the output, the thin wire. See that? 15.7. So when we sell a 15 amp, DC-DC 15 amp, you can bet your money that you're getting at least 15 amps. So 15.7, close to 16 amps. Check this side. On the positive rail, same thing, 15.7. And let's check the input. The input should be higher because we're going from a lower voltage. Oh, it could be low at the moment because this is a higher voltage now. It's only at 7. So let's check this out. What's she at? She's only at 10. See that? She's only at 10.5 amps. But the amperage will come up as it starts to boost the voltage. At the moment, it's bucking. Buck boost, boost buck. So let's monitor it. So it's 7.88, 7.9 volts. So in a typical situation is I'll make a nicer strap, maybe with a bit of rope and a handle or some webbing, so it's comfortable to put over your shoulder, like a handbag. You got to a site, and whatever this voltage is at, and if you were to leave this supercaps charged, you don't touch it for a month. It's not going to be at 0. It could be at 10 volts or 12 or 11 volts or so, just sitting there for a month. So it's not going to go dead on you. Then you go to the job site, and because we have terminated these, this terminates at 16 volt. All right, this is my testing one for the prototype, but the production one that we've done is 15.7. Yeah, I've dropped down to 15.7 as a maximum. With this is 16 volts, so you might get 15.9. So, and the beautiful thing about this is, at any time, because you're watching this live in front of you, yeah, you can disconnect. You can disconnect this and unplug this at your voltage, at the choice of voltage. So if you want to start a car, I mean, if it's a 2.4 liter, you charge it to 12 volts, she'll start. But of course, you want to go 14 volts, it's fantastic. Let's say you've got a Kenworth or a Cummins 14 liter engine, diesel engine. You want to charge it to maximum, charge it to 16 volts or 15.7. On our production DC-DC is maximum at 15.7 volts, charging at 15 amps. So we chose 15 amps charging because it is a good balance between speed and cost. All right, we don't want this to blow out budgets. Yes, we can have it at 25 amps charging, but then that's going to get very expensive. So and for you to wait, you should be about 4 to 4 minutes waiting from dead flat. So I don't know how long this video's gone for. It's gone for, what, this is 3 minutes now, plus the other video when I started. So we are at, let's see, now we should be doing, so my meter is 0. Check the input to the DC-DC. What is it at? See that? It's at 18.7. All right, so it's climbing 18.9, 19 amps. Yeah, but then on the output of the DC-DC, it's going to be a steady 15.5. Yeah, it was 15.7 before, so 15.5, 15.6. Very, very good. And voltage is coming up very nicely as we speak. And of course, just while we're waiting, that's the 175, and this is the other side of the 175. So what we recommend is, any cables can be tangled in now, is do not connect this Anderson, which is this adapter here, the lead, on there, like that, whilst these are the two clips, the alligator clamps are loose, because you can touch them. And when you touch them, you're not going to hurt your supercapacitor, you're going to hurt the clamps. It's going to go bzzz, and a big flash. There we go, 14.8, 14.9, she's climbing. What I recommend is to put this onto your starting points on your vehicle, or your engine, your motor, whatever, and then make the connection so it's safe. So those two are secured on the right post, and then you just plug it in, and then you can go ahead and crank. Getting interesting now. Let's just check the amperage whilst we are getting up. See, it's 15.6. See, it's solid 15.5. See, it hasn't dwindled yet. Let's see if we can zoom out. There we go. Watch the voltage. Now it's going to start dying or ramping down. 15.9. See that? There you go. See that? Rapidly drops. The amps drops, and of course the amps is going to drop on here as well. So you have just witness. See, it's not working anymore. Well, very little. 0 point. There you go. Start it back up again. And now if I were to discharge it with a carbon pile, as soon as it drops below 15.9, it's going to start ramping up to 15 amps charging. So at this point, a typical workflow is good. We've charged it up. Disconnect here for safety. There we go, and disconnect here. one hand, there we go. And I don't like things to be dangling around, so we just stick it back into the little loop I've done with the zip tie, and there we go. Guess what? It's secured. And now I've got 16 volts of supercapacitor ready to unleash its fury. It has been said, a fully charged cap, you take it to the vehicle that is in need before you even connect it up. The starter motor is already trying to turn without physical electrical connection. That's how powerful, great products these are. So there you go. And if I were to discharge it, just for your information, let me just go and discharge it. Not that it proves much. I'm back. So that's connected there with the 175 Anderson. And I've got a piece of bread, wooden bread, hot dog, banana, young kids. So that's the carbon pile connected, and 15.6 reading on here. I've actually disabled my, well, focusing properly. I've disabled the voltage meter. I've gone with the digital, 15.9, good enough. Let's see what's the amperage we get from here. It'll be interesting, eh? Go off the meter here. So as you can see, focus, look at the amperage and the voltage. The carbon pile, 100, 200, maxed out 500 amps, and the voltage is that. And whoo, there's a nice heater there. I've cranked it right up, so it's tight now. So the carbon discs, or the pile, carbon pile. So, and of course, voltage is, take off the load. There we go. Disconnect here for safety. So as you can see, these are not hot but warm. As you can see, the energy, that's why a supercapacitor doesn't have great capacity in energy storage. But what capacity it has, it works. This thing works up to be about 1.25 amp, 1.2 amp hours only. It can be unleashed. This thing could only do 500 amps on the meter, or just under, all right? Because it doesn't have enough resistance to go higher. But this fella down here, on the left here, can dump just under 2,000 amps if you need it. That is why a 15 or 14 litre Cummins engine, which one of our customers has posted on Facebook there, you can see it crank. And mind you, there was no glow plugs in his tractor or his machinery there. It's just straight off the caps. And that was a standalone without batteries, for your information. So there you go. See that? And let's charge it back up there. So what we've got it happening. Let's go positive. Make sure the camera is pointed the right way, might help. Negative. Sometimes your mouth's talking, your hand's doing something on the other hand, and your camera hand is in la la land. Let me just, there we go. That's my input charging. And remember, I've turned on the LED, the voltage meter, but we're not getting a voltage because below 4 volts, there's not enough power to power itself. So therefore, let's just, come on. Don't make me put my phone, there we go. 1, 2, 3, there we go. I plugged it in now, and just wait for a little while for the voltage to get up to 2, 3, and then 4 volts. And then the magical light should turn on, the voltmeter. So we're waiting. Eerie silence. Oh, there we go. We've got heartbeat, spot on at 4 volts. See that? 4.0. There you go. There we go. Beautiful. So as you can see, this is going to be a beautiful setup for people who are working with roadside assistance, whether it be cars, whether it be mechanics, whether it be machinery, big diesel rigs, trucks. Yeah, a very, very valuable tool to have. You don't have to carry batteries. You don't have to worry about charging, keeping it charged or dying on you at whatever voltage this puppy is at. This little puppy that is attached on with beautiful, metal putty, epoxy, or whatever I call it. Hey, look at that. And if you were a bit more creative, put a handle on there if you want, with something nice, a rope or something. And then you can just chuck it away in the back of your truck or whatever. So that concludes our video. Thank you.